Hey everyone, Spurs here, on the ledge again here in Toronto, on the ledge again with Tottenham. I just wanted to follow up to yesterday's video to say thanks to everyone who watched. I wanted to make a couple quick points on what's going on before I get out of here. Meant to be on my way to Colorado to see the Rapids, and it is clear to me, having worked with organizations of large scale, that Tottenham are in some form of paralysis at this point. We all know that if Daniel Levy had been in charge, that Frank would have been terminated by now. Not the case with this board. Too many voices, too many opinions. They've backed their man and they keep backing their man, and so that makes it incredibly hard to then back down and say, no, we were wrong. He's not a right fit for the job. So they're in this mode of paralysis, which is not good for anybody, not good for the club. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for anybody's mental health, to be honest with you. But that often happens in football clubs when you have varying opinions, and no one true opinion wins out, as used to happen with Daniel Levy. I think that what we're seeing and what we're witnessing, particularly in yesterday's game, which we should have won, everybody knows that. We dominated in all of the areas that mattered, other than putting in the ball in the net. But what is ultimately clear for us is that there's a crisis of confidence within the team. Hence, we can't put the ball in the back of the net with anyone other than defenders, it would appear. And there's a crisis of confidence in the club. I think at this point, as I've said, I'm not here to make people feel a certain way or tell them how they should feel. And that's something I've learned as well following Tottenham over the years. If you start telling people how they should feel, they immediately take a dislike to you. I believe that everybody should be entitled to their opinion. Every fan should be entitled to how they feel, and that means that currently there are some fans that feel that Frank is still very much the man for this job. Me personally, as I've said, you need to know when to hold them and you need to know when to fold them. The old cliche rings true, and Tottenham Hotspur are a massive club. And we've seen our rivals, Chelsea, Man United, and so on and so forth. They've made changes. It's not convenient. It's not easy. It's not the path with the least resistance to take. But at some point, you have to come to the understanding that, okay, you might have been wrong in your initial assessment, but when a manager is not a good fit for a club, culturally, philosophically, and Tottenham is a huge club when it comes to a philosophy, a style of play, a culture, a front foot, forward attacking football. And we all know about the 1990s and the 2000s and what we witnessed, but there was always that cultural attacking DNA within the club, even when we were failing. And so we're not seeing that right now. And I think the last point I want to make before I get inside, because it's getting down to minus 20, 25 again today, is that while many say they can't see what Frank's trying to do, I think I actually can. And it's hit me over the last few weeks of what he is trying to do. And that is borne out in a lot of his comments. Some of them ill-timed, ill-informed, but a lot of his comments about turning a large tanker around. And my experience in this is that, a big football club like Tottenham takes a long time to turn around. And so what Frank's trying to do is instill the very foundational aspects that he did at Brøndby, that he did at Brentford. He doesn't have the time at Tottenham. And he doesn't sadly have the credit in the bank, and that's the most important thing. Poch had credit in the bank in that first season, and it carried him through some difficult times. Frank has not earned that credit yet, and I think that's critical in this. Tottenham are planning on buying Robertson, but that's for Frank. And if Frank's not going to be here, what does that mean? So there's a lot to unpack in all of this, but at the end of the day, there are options out there. There are managers out there. There are interim managers out there that we can go and get. I will be following up when I get to Colorado. Hopefully the weather is not as bad as there as it is here. You can see the snow coming down. Shadow Spurs out.